Welcome everyone to the Quilt Show. Today's guest is all the way from down under, and it is her very first time in America. So let's give her a big American welcome to Michelle de Groot, and we want you to stay tuned.
And now, your hosts for the Quilt Show, Alex Anderson and Ricky Timms.
Welcome to the Quilt Show, everyone. Alex, we always talk about it's a new day every day.
That's right.
It is a fun day every day here on the set.
It sure is. Thank you so much for coming, audience, and thank you for getting in the spirit.
It's so exciting.
I mean, the spirit is today.
The spirit is red, white, and blue because we're from America, but our guest today, oh, look at Alex. Look, check that out.
There we go.
Yeah.
Okay.
And while we're from America, our guest is from Australia, down all the way from under. Please welcome Michelle de Groot.
Hi, Michelle. How are you?
I'm so happy you're here.
Oh, I'm happy to be
I just
here.
have to say, you know, I saw you in Australia. It was last September. You were actually in one of my master classes.
Yes.
And it's like, Ricky, just look at my work a little bit. She's all very shy, very coy. And I'm like, we got to have you on the show. And so this is your first time to the United States. Welcome.
Yes, so now look at this. She got all in the flavor of it with us. Red, white, and blue.
That is fabulous. That's
Thank
wonderful.
you so much.
So, Michelle, you live in Australia.
Yeah.
Kind of tell us the area that you live in. Describe it for us.
Okay, so I live in on a country farm, about 73 acres, 76 acres.
Wow.
Yep, and we have kangaroos basically in the back paddock.
Oh, my God.
I have some Shetland pony, and I have a goat, and I have sheep, and I have alpacas, and I have chooks.
We have a zoo.
Yeah.
And even cashmere, right?
Yeah, cashmere goat. Yeah, I can pull their fur out
And use it for your textiles. That's fabulous.
Yeah.
Well, I love the fact that your environment has inspired your work as well.
Does a lot, yeah.
right?
Yes.
So let's take a look at some of your quilts. This very first one is on the table here.
Yeah.
And just, first of all, look at this, everyone. Is that not stunning? Just stunning.
Tell us about it.
So this is called After the Fire. About 6 years ago or so, we had a fire go through our property, and it literally went right through. The CFA, which is a country fire authority, actually saved our house by water bombing. They got to about 10 metres from the back of my property, and we were still hosing down the water after we got back. All the sheep and the horses...
You were evacuated?
I was, actually. I evacuated myself about an hour and a half or so before it went through our property.
What about the animals?
Yeah, what about the animals?
Yep, that was the big panic. And we weren't allowed to open gates or anything like that. So I had to sit and basically pray. Yep, worry and pray, yep. And went to my mum's place in Geelong and waited. And I just waited until we were able to come back in. And we snuck in through the back way, which we weren't supposed to do.
You don't know about that.
One of the fire trucks we got through. And as we're coming around the corner, I just prepared the kids. I just said, just be prepared, just wait, look away until I tell you can look. And well, I got there, and as I got around the corner there, the sheep and the whole lot, with everything with it was an absolute miracle.
Well, and the TQS people can relate to my story from last year where we went to the fire, and that was a miracle as well. So my heart goes out to you, but what a good ending to the story, right?
Yeah.
So let's look at another quilt. Let's talk about this one.
Okay, so that's called Tiny Dancer, and that originally was a painting from a lady by the name of Janet Knight, and I got permission from her to create it into a quilt. I nearly made it into a dog bed.
Oh, really? Because?
Well, I started off, I started with the ballerina, and I did it on silk. It's done on silk. And I started with that, and I did a lot of thread work. It's very heavy. And I had a couple of layers of wadding behind it and backing as well. But it pulled so much.
Because of the quilting?
Yeah, all the thread work pulled so much. And I stretched, and I tried so many different things, and it wouldn't work. And one day I just had an epiphany and thought, I'm going to trip onto it. I'm going to throw some Yep, Dacron, that high
Wow.
behind it, another backing, and I am going to go around her in between some of the main lines and quilt in between the quilted.
And literally, you were about to make it into a dog bed and just trash it,
it was
right?
going to go.
It's luminous.
And everybody in the audience, get this. Not only was it going to be a dog bed, it's been accepted into an AQS show now. So there you go. That's great.
Yeah.
All right, now the next quilt is a poppy, but I think that there's a backstory. Tell us about the original.
So way back in the First World War, I've got a great uncle who was over in France in Pozières, I think it's called, and he never came home. And they've never found his body. He's one of those soldiers that's never been found. So the poppy to me is a symbol of the war. And I first did one that was about 1 metre by 1 metre. And I also did some painting on it as well. So I've stitched it all together, then quilted and then painted. And that was the first time I actually did that process. So that I absolutely loved and called it poppy art. And then I recreated it smaller so that it was more end user friendly, that people could feel that they could do for themselves at home.
Now, you are, in my terms, a teacher, but you call yourself a tutor. What's the difference?
Okay, so I don't teach people. A teacher to me is someone who's at a school, who teaches the kids, how to spell, read, write and things like that. I just tutor people to pull out what they've already got within inside them. They've just given the encouragement that they need. They're just inspire
like a coach
them.
even.
Yes,
Everyone's
beautiful.
got it there. It's just a matter of tapping into it.
Now, speaking of being a tutor, I understand that a teacher in your past also really made an impact, and not in a good way. So tell us about that.
Yeah, so when I was about 15 in high school and I was doing graphic arts, and I actually wanted to become an artist and graphic artist, and he failed me first half year and told me I could not draw and go and do a secretarial course.
It's got to be devastating.
It was absolutely
And
devastating.
so how did you survive that?
Well, I did it. I did the secretarial stuff for years and years and hated it.
Did you have any support?
Mum. My mum.
Who, your mom is here.
Yeah,
right?
she's.
Where is mom?
Yeah.
Hey, thank you for coming. Let's hear it for moms who support, right?
Yeah. So mum's always been there. She's always supported me in my art. Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
Well, and look, you're an artist.
Yeah.
You're drawing.
So they say.
So they say.
Yeah.
So you say.
Yeah.
Are those cranes?
No, we're going to go to the cockatoo.
Oh, the cockatoo. Okay.
Yeah, that's cheeky. That pattern's called the pirate, because cockatoos in Australia have a bad habit of stealing bits off your house. Wood and window frames and stuff like that. But his name's Cheeky, and he's the local cockatoo up the road from us. Yeah.
Fun.
And then the cranes.
And then the cranes.
So a friend of mine, Mum's, loves the Brolgas. And the Brolgas have a dance, that's their dance, the dance of the Brolgas. And I did a painting for my mum, for my friend, and then recreated it into a quilt.
Nice. And then the circles.
Yeah, that's Rosie, the Rosella with the identity crisis, because Rosella's actually male are the coloured ones. So Rosie, every morning I come out at home, I hear the Rosellas. That's all I hear. No traffic, no people.
How big is that bird?
As a general rule, they're only, like a parrot.
Like that.
But they're not a sparrow size. They're a bigger bird.
Oh, yeah.
Beautiful birds.
Yeah.
We certainly love the fact that you had paintings on your quilt, and that was also kind of encouraged by one of our guests, Lisa Walton, who inspired you to put years ago.
Oh my gosh, I was doing a lot of patchwork for a long time, and you can only make so many tops of quilts and give so many away, and I went to one of her workshops in Kilmore, and man, oh man, inspired.
She was your tutor.
Oh yeah, she was. Yeah, and she brought out things in me and my art, and allowed me to actually go from putting it from a canvas onto actual fabric. Yeah.
So painting, applique, and you go to a happy place with all of it.
Oh yeah.
And we're going to do a happy place when we come back, because we're going to learn a little bit about raw edge applique and how to make it look just like Michelle de Groot does in these spectacular quilts right after the break.
On the next Quilt Show, what do the names Goldsmith, Buckley, Holly, and Marshall all have in common?
They all love to do applique, and they are particularly good at it.
Be sure to join us for this Applique Masterclass show where we've pulled together some of the best, most jaw-dropping applique moments we've seen on our show over the years.
Some appliqueurs do like to begin their stitch on the underside of the applique. It gives you a more rounded edge to your applique. I like it crisp, so I start at the edge.
Whether you want to give applique a try or you already love it, this show is for you.
It's a power hour of tips and inspiration, all about applique, on the next Quilt Show. Join us.
I'm so glad that you're joining us. Welcome back. We're with Michelle Groot. And honestly, your work is incredible. It's so painterly. But you say it all starts here at ground zero.
Yes.
Because this is so simplistic.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so tell me about this sample.
Okay, so when I first started tutoring anyone to do any kind of raw edge applique, I started with these 4 simple little flowers, I suppose you just call them flowers.
Yeah, like a raw edge applique.
Yeah. So, and I just sort of said to people when I first started, just go around the outside edge and go around 3 times. I don't want you to go over the same line twice, and I don't want you to worry about it being perfect because we just want happy.
Yeah, that's right. You don't care about perfection, do you?
No, I don't do perfection. That's for other people.
You want to be my friend? Yeah. Well, I love this here because I'm taking a painting class with Joanne Sharp, and you do line work, and it's never once, and it just adds something to it.
Yes, it adds that texture, it adds that depth, it adds character, it adds those things that most artists look for when they're doing any kind of artwork.
And this is how you compose these?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I also want to talk about this right here.
Yeah, it's weird, hey?
Yeah,
It's random.
It's totally random. Did you draw it out first, or did you just go do your thing?
No,
okay.
I just did my thing.
Okay.
So I sort of thought, well, we got flowers. We need some. I don't know. We need some leaves.
Okay, cool.
And then just put some stuff in them.
That's great. And then you made it into a pillow.
Yeah, which hasn't been finished, by the way. Did you like the pin?
Yeah, that's how I put my sleeves on, so no judgment. So you just knocked this drawing out, right?
Yeah, so a couple of years ago I did a quilt, and it's called Teddies and More, and it's an embroidery quilt, just a simple back stitch. And I thought, right, well, I'll draw out one of the patterns and turn this in for a raw edge applique for you guys.
So you just drew this, and then I note that what are you thinking when you do all this bit here?
Okay,
labeling?
so white 1.
Okay.
A wing 1,
Okay.
wing 2.
Okay.
So ear 2, ear 1. So when you're when you're looking at these, so you know that it's going to be FL3, so it's flower 3, so you know to look for the colours. These are going to be in sections so that you know what colour. The cuffs, they're going to be one section. So you can just draw this out onto your...
Okay.
Yeah. What's this stuff called again?
Apple Web Plus.
That's the one. You've like your fusible webbing, and then once you've got that drawn out, then you can cut it out, iron it onto the back of your fabric, and cut out on the lines, and then you end up with eventually you end up with the applique piece.
Okay, so then what about this here? This is kind of looks scary.
Yeah, it's not.
Okay.
Nothing I do is scary.
Okay, good. Because look at this beautiful, beautiful sheer. Yum, yum, yum. Bridal department? Is that
No. Go to a florist and ask them for their wrapping, that sort of stuff. Yeah. Yep.
We don't have this stateside.
Oh, don't you?
No, you got a whole new market here.
You can keep that.
Thank you. Okay, so then what?
So I then iron this on with an applique mat so that you don't get your iron all dirty.
Right.
Yep. Onto the fusible webbing.
Okay.
That again.
So this is like
Under
that.
there.
Okay.
Yep. Then I will cut out my piece. I've got it drawn on the back for the size of the wings. Cut that out. Tear off the paper on the back. and down she goes.
And then what's this for here?
Yeah.
What is this stuff?
Yeah, so you can, this is a stabiliser. So if you want it to be thicker than just this, which is what I did, I wanted it to be quite thick. So,
okay, why?
I just wanted them to stand out a little bit more than just fade into the background.
I'm wondering if this is kind of like what they put in men's collars in their shirts or something, because it feels that stiff, right?
Yeah. So then you can iron it onto that because it's fusible, and then put fusible webbing on the back of that, and then stick it down.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what is going on here, I think, is really interesting, and I didn't notice it till we prepared, was that here you've got these little guys. Let me grab this pattern back. These little guys floating out here, but then with the quilting, that's where all the connection's going to come, right?
Yes. So this is where you get that sketchy applique thing. This is how you turn it from a simple traditional applique into something that's a little bit more funky.
Okay, so you showed me this, so that's why I'm pointing it out now. You got a problem here, lady.
Yeah, I do. So I had a dirty iron. Yeah, and I decided I'm going to leave it, and I'm going to actually stitch that in. So I'm going to stitch it to death.
Oh, you're going to stitch on top of it, so bye-bye.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm going to make that work.
Okay, so then what about this backing?
Yeah, so this is actually a two-way tearaway. So, so you can tear it both ways. So that way it doesn't get caught up in between things,
So we're not going to do, could I, if I wanted, do this, wadding, batting, and the backing?
Absolutely. Yeah, that's how I do mine.
Okay, so this is just for demo right here? Okay, well.
Okay.
So let me see. Let me see you do your thing.
Oops, things are flying. Okay, so let's do this flower. I've got to remember how to do this. How do I do this?
I'll do it. I'll do this part.
You'll do this part? Oh, that's awesome.
Okay.
Oh, look at that.
I know, it's a pretty nice machine.
Makes me look clever, like anything. I've got to get used to that little duder. You have to do that. There we go.
Partner sewing.
Partner sewing.
Oh, wait, tell me about these first.
Oh, these gloves. So these gloves I distribute just starting to in Australia. They're from Portugal. Okay. And a lady there created these so that you don't have that really bad shoulders and stiff neck and the sore arms. I mean, I've had torn tendons, I've had all sorts of things, and once I started with these gloves, that all sort of went by the wayside.
Wow.
I don't have that anymore.
I can't understand it. What are they called? Marcia
Beraldi.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm just going to go back up here because I want to put little doodahs up here.
I can see your artwork coming out here. Because honestly, you're adding just even with that little flower, sophistication, you know?
Yeah, I will. I'll do that all the time. And again, I don't try and do perfect. I just try and make it completed and happy. You know, I don't want to go exactly over. I want to make sure that I get things a little bit sketchy and a little bit creative.
I just love that one line isn't right. You want more.
Oh, yeah.
Now, you have a friend who has some issues.
Yes, so a friend of mine has fibromyalgia and she suffers a lot of pain, and she started with the quilting and traditional quilting, but wasn't really finding that it was, sort of giving her what she needed. And she came and did a workshop with me one day, and I can't really rightly remember what it was, but she said it was something to do with textiles, painting and all that sort of thing. And from there on in, she said, it's a weird thing to say, I saved her life, because she was in such a depressive state that she felt like she had nowhere else and nothing else to live for.
That is... those are the payoffs.
Yeah.
Those are the payoffs.
I was taken aback and felt such a privilege to know her and to be able to do that for her. Yeah.
Wow. But you hear that. I mean, I'm going to show everybody this right here. So here was this just very simple shape that has then been now expanded on.
Yeah.
to me, it makes all the difference in the world.
Yeah.
And I would not have thought of that. Honestly, I would not have thought of that. I would have said, blanket stitch right around the edge, and there you go.
Yeah, yeah.
So what do you guys think? Yeah? Right? Okay, so we can't do the whole thing.
No.
But maybe I'll sit down during break and
You can go for your life. Absolutely, go for it.
So listen, you guys, there is no reason to sulk over silk. Amazing tips for embellishment with painting and thread work. Stick around. There's so much more to learn today.
On TQS today, Michelle, again, welcome to America. I'm glad that you're here.
I know.
And I got to meet you, as I said, and I saw your work. You said earlier in that first segment that you were really kind of deflated when a teacher told you you can't paint, right?
Yeah.
I want to take a look at some of your paintings because we need to prove to the world that you can indeed. Look at this. Is that not amazing? So this is not a quilt. This is a painting. Beautiful, beautiful. Look at that. So you love horses.
Yes, I do. Yes.
And some of your country living life.
Yes, it tends to rub off. Yep, onto the brush.
So we now know that you also love to take that painting into quilting.
Yes.
And today we're going to be talking about doing that on silk. So tell us about the fabric itself. What are you using?
It's, I think I'm pronouncing it right, a hibotti. Is it a hibotti silk? It's about 8 weight, 8 grams or whatever they call it.
Fine.
Yeah, it's very fine. Yeah, it's not quite a chiffon, but it's fairly fine. It's fine enough that the paint absorbs really well. It's not too heavy and too thick,
right?
Where it snags and pulls and things like that. So it tends to be quite user friendly.
Okay.
I like it.
So now you need a design of some kind, right?
Yep.
So in this case today we're going to be working on a butterfly, and this is a design that you've created.
Just drew it up.
Just drew it up because I don't know how to draw.
That's right.
Or so someone said.
Yeah, so someone said, yep.
All right, so how do you get this transferred onto the silk?
Okay, so you use an old frame from a painting, like a canvas, and you can buy them at the $2 store or whatever, and you can take off the old canvas, and then you get the raw. Thank you. So if we turn it over, you'll see a bit of raw wood.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
You can see, it's been taken off. You can see it in the staples. So then you staple your silk onto this, and if you turn that around the other way...
We have it.
Actually, no, we need it the right way. Sorry.
This way?
I apologise. Yep.
This way?
No.
This way?
Yeah.
Okay.
So you can see that it's back to front. So what I've done is actually drawn on the back of the picture, which I don't have here with me, but you can see it eventually. And you go through it and it'll give you the right way up.
But with this down and you're tracing, you can just trace
what's underneath
on this.
Yeah.
So you got that. And this then becomes, it's stretched on the canvas and your line drawing is on there.
Yeah, to stretch it on though, you need these little pins. There's silk pins.
Let's talk about those. Can we show these?
Yeah.
They're very interesting to me.
Yep.
And what's the advantage of these silk pins?
So you can't just use normal tacks. Normal tacks will put holes and tear the silk. They need to be these little pins so that they've got the 3 little prongs on them and it goes in between the weaves rather than tearing the weaves.
And that's what we can see on the sides of the canvas right here that you've done. And so no particular, I mean, they're just a lot on some sides, but as long as it's kind of stretched and taut.
Yes,
right?
You don't want it drum tight, but you want it tight enough that it's not going to sag.
I'm going to just hold this one up because this was obviously traced while it was still on your frame.
Yep.
But when it's been taken off, I can't even see where the holes were.
No, and once you start painting and sewing, you're not going to see any of that
because it's
anyway.
going to get all covered up with stuff. All right, so good. All right, so now what is the next step?
The next step is the gutter. So
Okay,
the
what's Gouda?
Gouda is a resist. So like a wax with a batik, it stops the paint from running into each other and keeps the areas separate. So I can put blue on one side of it and yellow on the other without making green.
Okay, so where batik would be like a wax,
Yeah.
this is not a wax, this is a water base?
Yes,
So
yes.
does it just wash out?
Yes, cold water just
Cold
washes
water.
out. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So show us how you would then use that
Yep.
to
So
create the resistance.
I pop it into a little container that's got a smaller snout.
Okay, I like that. That's a good idea.
And I just squeeze it. I get a serviette just to get the bubbles out and get it to there.
So it
just
kind of
run-
stands
run
up a little
along.
bit on top, but then does it start sinking in?
Yeah, so what happens is it goes slowly into the layers of the fabric. And what'll happen if we turn it over, you'll see very quickly whether it's absorbed or not.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I assume that you've gotten this down to where you don't put too much on so that it doesn't run or go too
look,
wide.
And I still do that.
But you know what? Here's what I've learned from your previous segment. Your stitching and everything that you're gonna do is gonna make it look great anyway.
Well, that's right. That's why I
this
don't
is just kind of a
stress.
foundation for everything that's to come.
That's exactly
so
right.
should we let this over to see if we can?
Yeah,
It won't drip off, right?
No, it won't drip, but we'll just hold it up in the air so we
I'm gonna
don't
see
make
if I
that
can-
smudge.
Wow.
So you should be able to see.
This is where we were right
Yeah,
here.
see how it's all wet?
Yeah, so this
that's
dark
told
line
me
is
that
what
there's
is-
no gap.
Yeah,
So
that's
that
great.
means that the paint's not going to run through.
All right.
Oh.
Now, we're going to keep this like this,
Mm-hmm.
but this is what we're going to paint on. We're just not going to paint on that area because it's wet.
Yes,
Right?
correct,
So this needs to
yes.
dry. How long does it take to dry?
Overnight.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fabulous.
Unless you get a hairdryer.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
you
So
can do that.
overnight.
Yep.
So this over here is dry.
Yes.
So let's do some paint.
Sure.
Tell us about the paints that you're using for this. Are these silk paints?
These are silk paints. So there's lots of different types of paints you can use, acrylics and inks and all sorts of things, dyes. But the silk paints work the best with the silk. They tend to soak into the fibres better, then they don't sit on the top as much.
Okay.
So-
And you need a paintbrush, right?
Yes, we do.
Now, I have to tell everyone, there was not a paintbrush when we arrived here to the studio today.
And I forgot one.
So we did a little let's make a deal. Who in the audience has a paintbrush? Oh, there's not a paintbrush, but there is a makeup brush. This is ingenuity at its best. Who is it that gave us the paintbrush? Thank you. Thank you very much. All right, so here you go. Here's your paintbrush
Thank
for today.
you. This is very highly technical equipment.
I can tell, I can tell that it is.
I'm just going to dampen it. There's two ways you can do this. You can do it wet or you can do it dry. So if I want to do it wet, I would literally wet the area first, then put the paint on.
Okay.
It has a different look to it. When you do it wet, it's very...
Watercolor?
yeah,
Kind of
exactly.
blends?
Yeah. So as we do it dry, straight onto the
Can we do
paintbrush.
some of each?
Sure.
Maybe do a section that's dry and do another
Yeah,
section
sure,
that's wet?
absolutely.
Okay.
So this is a dry section. So you'll watch it, see how it bleeds?
Oh my goodness.
Isn't that
Wow.
gorgeous?
Wow.
So you can do every second one.
Wow.
Just
I wasn't
nicely.
expecting that.
Isn't that nice?
It's like, yeah, it's like, sorry, I don't know what my sound effects are, but that's what I'm doing today.
I like those sound
That's
effects.
great.
So if I want to say put a little bit of green in it, I would actually get the yellow and say just tap around there and let it
Alright,
do its
let it
thing.
kinda do its thing.
Yeah, you just let it do its thing and then we colour in that one.
It's really whatever
And if I
you
go
wanna
over the
do.
line, it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
It's
because
not
if you
gonna-
go over the line, it won't paint there because it's got the resist, right?
That's right, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So if we want to do one that is,
Do we need to clean that pretty good?
yeah,
All right.
it's okay.
So I assume that there'll be a little bit of color coming on here, but even so,
We're going to have a green
not
look.
enough to make it crazy.
Nah,
So you can just wet
that's-
that.
That's wet.
All right.
Nice and
now,
wet.
do you use less paint when it's wet? I mean, are you about to use a little bit less paint because it's already wet?
Yeah, literally, I would use less paint because
Okay.
it's like you
Can
say,
we
it's
do
already.
orange?
We can do orange. Do you like orange?
I'm just thinking I want to see a different color.
Okay. And it'll be lighter. So it just
Wow.
takes a little bit of time. We'll get more paint on there. The brush is
So,
not really
you know,
designed for that.
I've
There we
seen
go.
some fabric painting where the paint, and I bet the audience has too, where the fabric gets kind of stiff.
Yeah.
You know? And does this feel stiff?
No, not at all. No, not at all. It's very soft. So if we've got the orange, Let's go in with the yellow.
Yeah.
Because with the watery ones, they tend to sit more in the area you've got it. So it doesn't tend to bleed as much.
I see. And I was just thinking the opposite.
Yeah, no, it's...
I was thinking just the opposite.
Yeah, so now I'm putting the yellow around and it'll, once it dries, it'll have that nice soft
really
yellow
very
and
cool.
like a hue.
Okay,
Yeah.
I get to play.
You do.
I'm going to try one. We haven't done any green. I'm
Okay.
going to go with green. Do I just a
Go
little bit of that?
yeah.
A little bit of green.
Yeah.
And can I go right
Anywhere
here,
you
maybe?
like.
Okay.
Isn't that awesome?
Oh
Isn't
my
that beautiful
gosh,
to
I
watch?
was not expecting it to do that.
Isn't it beautiful?
That's why it's fun not to have everything absolutely rehearsed, because I get to be surprised. All right, so what do you think so far? Easy to do, everyone, right? All right, so, all right, yay, we had fun, we painted, but
Yep.
now let's go over to the machine, because it really is about the stitching.
Absolutely.
And as we get there, I want everybody just to see this is lovely and soft and delicate. It's like you could even make a scarf out of that.
Oh, and now you say that, I've actually bought some scarves I hand. No, they're not here. They're at the back, but yes,
No, that's
I did.
all right, but
Yeah.
we can enjoy the thought, right?
Absolutely, but yes, you can make scarves out of that. Absolutely, yeah.
God. All right, so, but this is where the magic happens. And while you're getting this all ready, I just want to call back to your Tiny Dancer, because the Tiny Dancer quilt uses this whole silk. It is on silk, it is painted and then stitched. And this was the one that almost ended up being your dog bed, right?
Yep.
And now it's a prize, well, maybe not a prize winner, but
Fingers
it's coming
crossed.
to a big show.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
so-
to be accepted is an honour. Yeah,
Yeah, it is,
absolutely.
huge.
Yep. Yep.
All right.
So with this, you can see that there's these big white lines, and the better you get at it, the smaller and thinner the lines can be. And also, it ends up with the tip of your resist. It depends on that as well.
And did you wash this out by hand?
Oh yes, just wash it out by hand.
And it's,
Yep.
and it's good to go.
And before you wash it, just iron it, heat set it first upside down, like we did earlier.
And what kind of heat?
Low heat.
Okay, low heat.
Think silk, think burning.
Okay.
Yeah.
Also, what layers do you have here? Do you have the top?
It's very important with this, otherwise you'll end up with the dog bed. So this is your wadding, sorry.
Okay.
And then I use what they call bag batting. Handbag.
Oh, bag.
Bag batting, yeah.
Where do you get this?
I have Victorian Textiles, any shop, quilting shop would
But
have.
it's got some
Very
resist to it. It's pretty
yeah,
stiff,
it's very
right?
stiff,
And
yep.
then you're backing.
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
so we've got all those layers.
Yep.
And then the magic comes with the stitching.
Okay, so because we've got like this aqua colour on, I'm just going to grab where I can find the end of it.
Now, is your initial goal to go into the white areas? Is
Yeah,
that
when
your
I
initial
first
goal?
start, I want to just pull up my bobbin. And
Would you ever spray base this or anything to get it so it's a little more stable?
no, you know what I do? I'd pin, just very, very openly pin around it. Depends
Okay.
on the size of it. And then I would stitch, big basting stitch around the outside edge, just to stop
to
it from
keep it-
moving
yeah,
around
sure,
on me,
sure.
yeah. Because they are very slippery, as you can tell. And yeah, if you haven't got a hold of it, it'll get out of shape.
Oh, look at this. You are, I'm going to call it scribbling.
Pretty
That's
much.
not what I expected either. I was expecting you to start going through the white. I think that's what you guys are expecting too. But look at this. This is so forgiving.
Oh, yes.
Because if you're struggling with free motion quilting, you don't have to have some beautiful, line.
no,
You can
no.
learn to get that motion of free motion quilting
Yeah,
by
absolutely.
just doing it like that.
Yeah. I mean, once you've finished, if you find that you've got little white spots that you can't cover or fill in, you can always come back with a tiny little dot of paint.
And you're trying to fill in the white now. Is that the truth?
That's my first start. That's my first port of call would be to fill in the white, and then I would start working on the areas. So I might turn around and go, well, I need some bubbles in there. And this is where your texture comes in.
Yeah, I mean, the painting is just the foundation.
Yeah.
And it's giving you kind of a color guide, the way our fabrics are appliqué would be, but in this case it's painted, right?
That's right, yeah.
That looks great. What do you think, everybody? Absolutely, yeah? I agree. Let's take a look at a couple of your quilts. That these are silk And they are through. I love the frog. Oh my gosh, and painted.
Isn't he cute?
Yeah, and the is it koi?
Kois,
Yeah,
yep.
beautiful.
Yeah, yep. So there's, again, same process, exact same process. And to get the little bit of bling on the kois, I did a bit of bobbin work.
Right, and I just thought in my head that we might not have mentioned that when you drew it originally, it was drawn with a soft pencil.
Soft pencil, not a HB. It's got to be a 2B, 3B, 4B, so something really soft so it
And for
washes
those
out.
of y'all that are in America, that means a number 2 school pencil is not what you want. You want something softer than that.
Sorry.
Because your HB is the same as our number 2, but
Oh,
you want
okay.
it to be softer than that.
Softer than that,
right?
yeah,
Okay?
yeah, not
So
sharp.
that it will actually kind of come out, but you're stitching over it anyway, so even
Yeah.
if it doesn't come out all the way, it's...
You could use a permanent marker, it wouldn't really matter.
Yay, let's hear
Yeah.
from Michelle, everybody. That's great. We could do that. Thank you. Fabulous.
Well, before we go, I have something for you and Alex.
You have something for me and Alex.
Yeah.
I wonder if Alex could even come in here. Alex,
Can I open the table?
bring your cup, whatever you've got. You're drinking something. Drinking something on the set today. What is it? It's got ice.
Something you'd be jealous of.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
You ready?
Yes.
You like books?
Yes.
Awesome. You have a bookmark.
Oh my gosh, look at those.
Gorgeous.
Those are great. That's fabulous.
So cute. Thank you.
That's
Okay,
awesome.
thank you for having
so
me.
much.
And I do like reading a book.
That's nice. Yes,
book.
so I do. So do
Yeah,
I.
yeah. This was fabulous. I want to do it, okay?
Absolutely,
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
Well, Alex, so everybody, what's going to happen next is we're going to be learning about some specialty threads, and oh my gosh, you're going to love what comes up next. So don't go anywhere, okay?
It's wonderful.
Yeah, it is.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm here with Andrew Ngai. Andrew is the owner and the president and the big cheese of WonderFil Threads.
Thank you. Thanks for having me here, Alex.
Right. And what we're going to concentrate on today, because what I'm learning about threads is the more you know, kind of the less you know, right?
In a way, yes.
And we're going to talk about specialty threads.
Okay.
Okay, but before we get there, your background was not always thread.
No. But I can see sort of something in common between what I study and what I'm doing today. It's all about colors, all about getting things being done more efficiently, and also options.
But you were an architect
I was.
in England.
In England, yes.
And so how long have you been in the thread gig?
32 years.
Wow. And so how did you get started? I mean, we have threads, Andrew.
Right.
So what got you started? What was your motivation?
Yeah, so when I moved from England to Canada, so I decided to do something different. Yeah, so I just look around, and there's one incident. I get to see some thread productions, and I was totally amazed.
I've seen that too. It's
Right.
amazing.
It's
yeah.
amazing, yeah. And there are a lot of technical things to it, and I love it. It's where I'm from, right? All this technical thinking, logical thinking.
Right.
And I love it.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so today what we're going to concentrate on are specialty threads. And I'm going to tell you right now, if you go to any of the major shows, you walk into this booth and you have a heart attack. I mean, well, you should go visit the booth. I mean, and I want to say too, you do Sue Spargo's threads.
Yes,
Okay.
we do.
Okay, so let's start with weight, okay?
Okay.
Now you better check your suitcase, Andrew. That's all I'm going to say. Okay, do we have a good shot of this? Yes.
It's really tiny, the 100 weight, so you have to get really, really close.
100 weight thread. And what's it made out of?
It's a cottonized polyester.
Okay, so it's pretty darn strong.
It is strong, and it is not shiny, and it doesn't shrink.
Okay.
And it has all the cotton properties.
And then this?
And it is a rayon metallic thread.
And how fat is it?
It's a 8 weight.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is is this the fattest thread you make and the skinniest thread you make?
We have feather thread in 3 weight.
Oh, wow,
Yeah.
wow. Okay, so you guys, we're gonna go through a tutorial here of what is going on. Andrew has a lot of really great samples. And so let's talk about this. We've got a lot to go through and then some quilts, okay? So
yeah.
what's going on here, Andrew?
All right. As you can see that they are all labeled. At the top is 100 weight. As it goes to the bottom, they increases in weight, i.e. the diameter of the thread. So
Okay.
from 100 weight to 12 weight. Why we do threads in different ways? Simply because as you can see aesthetically, it create already dimensions.
Right.
And you see the bottom sample here, it's like the wave coming towards you, and you don't need even any special technique. You just need to pick the right kind of threads, and it creates the effect for you.
I didn't even see that till I looked in the camera thing there. That is like,
it's
like an
coming to
ocean.
you. Yeah.
Okay, so here are different weights too. Okay.
So typically, the other sample was on a sewing machine, and this one's done on an embroidery machine.
Okay.
What we're trying to say is the second one here is a 40-weight tri-lobo, which pretty much they're sold to everyone for whatever project for embroidery. But what we're saying is embroidery, you don't need to just use a utility weight. Like you can find a weight when you want more details. That's why you see the same design. As it goes down,
Let's do this. Look at the difference.
Yeah,
Look at the difference.
when it's thicker, you lose definitions here. It's all bulk up.
And this is 100.
Yep.
And it doesn't break and stuff on the.
No.
Wow.
180 and 40. yeah.
Okay. So then here, what's
Right.
this? Tell us about this.
So this is 80 weight for piecing. Deco
Right,
up.
right.
So what we reckon is for piecing, machine piecing, you're really putting fabric together. The last thing you want is a bulky seam.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, you want it flat, and you want pointed miters and around the curves.
I've started using 80 weight always on my bobbin, always.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and then I will use it on the top too. So,
Thank you. Yeah.
Okay, here.
And that's a 50 weight just to compare.
Well,
So,
is there a big difference?
if you sort of put your finger at the corner, you will feel the difference. It's not a little; it's quite a fair bit.
This is an Audi belly button right here. That's and then this is like an any belly button. It's,
like that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
that's right.
copyrighted, Andrew.
Okay, all right. Oh, damn.
Now we have some cool stuff going on here. Let's talk about these in pairs, if you don't mind.
No, not at all. So what we've done here is to show you, even for quilting, I hope you can see, and this is done in 100 weight. They're really, really tiny. What you really see, even in a short distance, is only impressions.
Yeah, I like the 80 for machine quilting.
Yeah, so it makes your quilt very textured, and the other one 60 weight.
Okay, now this one?
This one is a 50 weight Egyptian cotton, and this is a 12 weight. As you can see, 50 weight have been used extensively for different quilting purposes, but really, so there are times you want to see the thread more, you want the thread to be at your face, and you want to use a bigger thread.
You know, Ricky will come up in a little bit, but I tend to like the finer, and Ricky says, if I'm going to do that work, man, I want it to show. Is that right, Ricky? It depends. I'm not speaking for Ricky. Okay, look at these, beautiful.
Okay, so here there are two kinds of metallics, all right? One's done in a traditional way, which is a core wrapped metallic that has a filament in the middle. It's wrapped around by metallic slitted film. And the other one is a twisted one. And this is a 12 weight. There's like a 40 weight. As you can see, when you use metallic, it does pick up some interesting look, but the size of the thread matters as well.
Okay, now look at this. Here we go.
Okay, what we've done here on this side, it is done with a 40-weight tri-lobo polyester with a design that you can download from wherever. And this is done, replicated with a 12-weight Egyptian cotton. You can see that that gives you a vintage look. It's almost like a hand look. Same design, just done with different threads.
I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not going to remember any of this. Is this stuff on your website?
Yes, they are.
Okay, it's WonderFil.net. Yeah,
Yes.
because here's the thing with thread. Honestly, the more I know, the less I know. And there's so many wonderful options out there. Okay, let's talk about Mr. Wolf.
Okay. Again, what we're trying to do here is when we talk about specialty thread, our definition is if a thread helps you to get to a specific and enhanced result with the replacement of it with a regular thread in one single sewing operation, we call it specialty threads.
Okay.
So what happens, this is done with a regular 40-weight tri-local polyester, which most people would have done, whether you are in the embroidery club or whatsoever. Now we replace the thread with Mirage, which is a 30-weight variegated rayon, and spotlight metallic. You can see the difference.
Wow.
Yeah, this too is more sort of like, I think, interesting.
Wow. I mean,
Yeah.
that is something else.
That's right.
And it's just fine in your. So, what kind of needle for something like this?
We use a 90 top stitch needle.
Okay.
But
Okay.
depending on, of course, the weight, and you use different sizes. So I don't know whether the camera can pick up the difference. What we're trying to do here is, in terms of specialty threads, it's not just the top thread matters. The bobbin thread actually matters more.
Should I turn it over?
Yeah, I covered up who make the other ones.
Okay. Okay.
No, that's okay. When I looked at it last night, I said, oh no, we don't want other brands doing that. So what we're trying to do is, we do the design with two bobbin thread. On the left-hand side, on this side, they all done with Deco Bob. And the other side are the brands in the market. What we're trying to show is, with the quality of the bobbin thread, it affects the way the stitches are laid in the front. And I think you can see it quite well here, but I'm not quite sure whether they see it well on the camera.
I can see it.
Yeah.
Okay, I can see I need to go buy more threads, what I can see right now. Okay, what's going on here?
All right, so what we basically do, this is the right way up with labels.
Okay.
So what we do is, a lot of times we have people come into us and say, oh, Andrew, I want a serger thread. I mean, really to us, any thread you put in on the serger, you can call it serger thread. It's not anything specific to it.
Okay, gotcha.
So with these, with these, you actually see we mark them. Every piece of them, they made with a different thread. So this sample has finer materials. We use a finer weight thread as a serger thread.
What's this? What is
It is a Roham.
Yeah, but what's that thread?
Oh, that's Mirage. Yeah.
Is this stuff here?
Use this stuff here.
Look at that, you guys. Beautiful.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
that's Mirage.
Okay.
Then, as I said, there are different ones you can use. Too. Same thing, and this time we deal with the heavier materials. This time we even do it on the quilt. So it have padding, have the top and the bottom fabric, and we've done the 3-stitch Roham, we've done the flat lock, and we also done the wave.
So if I'm working with, like, say, an 80 weight, do I want to do a finer needle with a smaller hole so it doesn't bounce around so much in it?
You're talking about in terms of serger or just regular sewing?
Sewing.
For 80 weight, we normally recommend like 68 or 79.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. All right.
I mean, this just goes on and on. There's that thread again.
Yes, that's a Mirage again. So, and this is another thing. So what we've done is, as you can see, we have Invisifil in the first 3 samples there. So what they really is we want to show you with the 100 weight, how well you get away seeing any thread, even when you're doing raw edge. Single stitch or zigzag, and this is a needle turn. It's perfect for needle turn. And of course, for applique, you can have the decorative applique, then you go into like Mirage or Glamour.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, here's the thing. We're kind of like, I want to get to quilts. Is there one last one that you want to say? Yeah, you got to see this one before we look at the quilts.
Okay.
Okay, Daddy, which is your favorite of what's left here?
All right. So this one. So what people are doing a lot with thread painting or free motion embroidery, this is what they call them in England, they tend to use a regular weight thread. So this one, we use a 12-weight spaghetti by Susan Cleveland, the colors. And then what we did is we show people how well it works with the 12-weight. You don't only get the color, you also get a lot of texture. And the main thing to remember, of course, when you use a bigger weight thread at the top especially, you always want a very fine thread in the bobbin.
Okay, and I want to talk about this real quick before we look at the quilts. If you get bobbin threads, They're on bobbin rolls, and a lot of threads come that way. You can put this on the top of your machine so it doesn't whack all over the place,
That's
right?
right, that's right.
Was that the way you explain it at shows?
Well, the thing is, the way we look at things is, at least the way WonderFil look at things is, we always try to get people spend their money wisely. So what we're looking at is, because a lot of people believe in the pre-wound bobbin that we're selling in the 80 weight, and then they believe in using it for the machine piecing. So I said, no, you don't need to buy the bobbin pack and also a spool.
You can use this thing.
Now you can use the bobbinator. You put the bobbin in it, it becomes a spool of thread that you can use at the top of your machine.
Okay, let's take a look at the first quilt over there. So tell us about a couple things about the thread and that.
All right. So as the camera is zooming in, I believe doesn't matter how far it goes, you still won't see the thread in the background where those cathedral windows things, because it's done with 100 weight Invisafilm.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so even when the quilt's right in front of you, you still have a hard time seeing the thread. And then the shiny bit, they are done with the spotlight metallic. And on the kimono, it is a 40 weight Fabulous, which
Beautiful.
is a 3-ply tri-local polyester.
Beautiful.
And we always have Deco Bob 80 weight in the bobbin to do all this work.
Yeah. Okay, the next one.
So with these ones, if you zoom into the flower, you can see that the flowers, they actually applicated by the 12 weight spaghetti.
Okay.
So it actually comes up to you.
Oh, it pops up there.
It does pops up, as you can see. And in the background, in the quilting, we use a master quilter, which is a 40 weight cottonized polyester.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, look at the little beading going on that orange one. Yeah.
And we also use the spotlight metallic here and there, so you can see the shiny bit.
Yeah.
So a lot of times when we do a quilt, by using the different threads, not any special different skill, it's just the same sewing technique, you will get a more interesting look.
Yes,
that's
now
right.
this last one, quilt, blew, Ricky, come on over, blew my socks off. Because that's a panel, you guys.
Hi, Ricky.
That is a panel that has been decorated. I think that's just amazing.
It's stunning.
Yes.
So let's see where the camera's going to take us on this field trip. You can tell us.
All right.
Okay.
So what happened is actually it was just last year, I was in Nantes in France, and I was talking to Odile, and she's a free spirit fabric designer, and she sort of do panels. So when we look at it, it's kind of beautiful, the color's beautiful, but it's rather flat. So we say, okay, let's get some of your fabric. We're going to play around with it. So we came back and then we just play around with it and we used the glamour. And I think we also use metallic. We use Fabulous in the background for the quilting.
And you know what that reminds me of? It reminds me of a coloring book for adults. I mean, really, right?
Absolutely.
Right.
Well, and I have to say, every year at Paducah, when I'm there with my booth, the WonderFil booth is next door, and you should see the bag I take home every year. You know what that's like, right? Oh my gosh.
Thank you, Ricky.
Yeah. Thank you so much for coming here from Canada today.
You're welcome, Alex.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Ricky.
Yeah, thank you so much. And we want to thank Michelle de Groot for sharing all that wonderful stuff and coming all the way from Australia to visit with us today.
Good information, good people, right?
Yep. You've had a good time today? Yes. I hope you've had a good time today. And remember, everyone, it's a new day every day.